We're about to dissect a living organism that science still hasn't fully figured out. But before we dive into that, let's discuss anatomy. It's the biological study of the structures found in living organisms. This discipline focuses on the parts and systems that make up the body of a living being, as well as how they function and are related to each other. Anatomy is one of the oldest scientific disciplines, with roots tracing back all the way to 3rd century BC. It can also be considered one of the largest disciplines, including every kingdom of life under its umbrella, from plants and animals to fungi, protists, and Monera. Anatomy reaches deep into these organisms, looking at microscopic cells, branching nervous systems, and even external body parts to determine how they function and how they serve as parts of a whole. Today, I'd like to add one more being to its field of study, the email. I guarantee that I can guess what you're thinking right now. An email isn't a living organism. You are correct! But just like every single organism out there, an email has a body plan that serves as a blueprint for its development and shapes its overall purpose. And studying the body plan of any organism, including the email, will help you gain a deeper understanding of how its form relates to its function. That matters because the sooner you fully understand an email's inner workings and how they help it function, the sooner you'll start to see results. Hi, I'm Lauren Britton, ClickBank's project marketing coordinator, email aficionado, and wannabe medical student. And I'm here to take you through the ins, outs, and inner workings of an email, all with a biological twist. I found that when learning something new, it helps to compare that new information to something that's already familiar. And while you might not be super familiar with the anatomy of a protist or a fungi, as people, we all have a fairly good understanding of our own anatomy, that of the human body. So, to help demonstrate and teach you about the anatomy of an email, I'll be comparing it to that of a person. If you think about the human body, you can break it down into little chunks that each accomplish a specific task. Moving around, picking things up, taking in information, and holding the body together. Every single part of the body serves a very specific purpose that contributes to optimal performance. Similarly, each part of an email has its own function that serves as parts of a whole. Whether that's keeping your email out of the spam folder, making sure it gets delivered, standing out in the inbox, or just capturing a reader's attention, they all work together to realize the ultimate purpose of getting your subscribers to take action. Let's start at the top with the head. When you first meet a new person, your eyes will naturally gravitate towards their face. That's because you're seeking to gain as much information about them as you can, which is typically accomplished through eye contact. In an email, this information is typically located within the inbox. The first bit you'll be exposed to is information about the sender's identity. This comes in the form of sender icons, from addresses, and from names. A sender icon is the little circle that you'll see next to an email. It either contains a brand's logo or a single initial surrounded by a solid color, kind of like an M&M. People are incredibly visual, so having an image like this can help a subscriber recognize an email sender at a very quick glance. A from address is the email address that the email was sent to, and a from name is the name that the sender has chosen to use. That can be their personal name, the name of their brand or company, the name of their department, the name of the product or service that the recipient has subscribed to, or a combination of about 2 of them. So if I were to send an email, I could say that it's coming from Lauren, ClickBank, the marketing team, Spark Education, or Lauren at ClickBank. Once a reader has finished identifying who the email came from, and they recognize or trust who it's coming from, they'll move on to trying to understand the purpose behind the email itself. Have you ever heard the saying, the eyes are the window to the soul? Well, the subject line is the window to the email. It tells you everything you'll need to know to judge an email before you actually get into it. A subject line is a short 4 to 7 word sentence that acts to catch a subscriber's attention, tell them what to expect, and encourage them to learn more by opening the email. It needs to be accurate, informative, inviting, and most of all, true to the information inside of the email itself. It should avoid scammy, spammy, or clickbaity tactics. Try to avoid using words like free, never, guaranteed, money, 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 cures, or double your income. Instead, try out personalizing the subject line with the recipient's name, or you, or using phrases like quick question about, invitation, or tips for X. Avoid claiming one thing in the subject line and then backtracking it in the actual email. What you say in your subject line should be confirmed in your email, not denied. Underneath the subject line will be the preview text. You can think of this like the mouth. It helps expand on the subject line, just how a person's words help expand upon what you think of them. The preview text defaults to being the first 2 lines of an email, but you can also fully customize it however you'd like, allowing you to provide more information, highlight key benefits, or reinforce an upcoming CTA. The main purpose of preview text is to increase the chance of your recipient opening the email, but you need to be aware that preview text might actually get cut off due to the size of the inbox. So don't make your subject line super reliant on your preview text. If the subject line and preview text have done their jobs, an email's recipient will click into the email and begin to read its body. In human anatomy, we move from the head to the neck, which corresponds to the logo in this analogy. A logo sits at the very top of your email, serving as a way to help an email's recipient instantly recognize who the email was sent from. Logos tend to be Goldilocks sized, large enough to be visible, but small enough not to take over the entire screen. Logos help enforce brand recall within the email, tying the logo to the sender information, kind of like how the neck ties your head into your body. Logos can also help the customer journey feel more seamless, since the logo in your email should correspond to the logo on your landing pages. Moving down a bit, you'll come to the headline, which I'll liken to the shoulder or clavicle area. These body parts help support and tie into the head, just like a headline supports the subject line by stating the purpose of the email and reiterating why a reader opened it in the first place. A headline is so close in connection to the subject line that it might actually just be a rephrasing or extension of the subject line. That's because both features of an email want to pique a reader's interest and encourage them to keep reading. The next part of the body is the body itself, or rather, your torso. In an email, this is where you'd find your body copy and images. First up, copy. This is the bulk of the writing you'll find within an email. The amount and type that you use will depend heavily on the message that you're trying to send. A sales email might rely on pictures to get the point across and only really need a few words to spell out a discount. A plain text email will have loads of copy broken down into short sentences or bullets to keep a person's attention. And a newsletter will have multiple sections relying on both images and copy. Speaking of images, their purpose is to provide context where words alone cannot, as well as serve as a point of visual interest to keep people engaged. They can also act as CTAs, break up blocks of text to give your readers a visual break, or help you clearly explain complex concepts involving time or numbers. Your copy and images are powerful tools that you have at your disposal to get your point across. If they're used properly, they can be the difference between a visit to your landing page and an unsubscribe. But to do that, you'll need to make sure that you don't use too much copy or too many images. Every pixel of an email is precious real estate that needs to be carefully thought out. So you need to strike a balance between information and aesthetics in every email that you write. Now, it's a little known fact that emails are written because senders want recipients to do things. But how do they do these things? By clicking on CTAs, calls to action. CTAs are our hands in this analogy. They're where all of the action happens. CTAs give your reader a clear pathway to complete the action that you want them to take, whether that's checking out a landing page, watching a video, or subscribing to your socials. CTAs need to be clear and actionable so a reader isn't left guessing at what they should be doing after reading the email. If you're in the middle of meeting 5 new people and they all offer you their hands at once, what do you think about? Whose hand are you shaking first? Would shaking that person's hand be really rude? You can't shake 2 at once, that's just weird. You're left standing there, not really sure what the best course of action is. The same feeling of confusion and inaction happens when you present multiple CTAs within one email. So stick to just one ask unless it's absolutely necessary, like in a newsletter. You don't want your reader to have to juggle. To close out the main human body, we have the waist area. And to close out the email body, we have the closing and the postscript. A closing is a sign-off or goodbye message, followed by your name that sits at the very bottom of your email. These goodbyes can be as casual or as professional as you'd like, depending on your brand voice. To your success or sincerely come off as more professional, while cheers or talk soon come off as more approachable. Along with these goodbyes, closings may also contain your title, personal social media links, contact details, and a headshot or a logo. A postscript, or PS, comes in hand if you have more information that you'd like to share that just wasn't really able to fit inside of the email proper. It can act as a final CTA, help reinforce an offer, serve as a reminder, or act as a preview for a future email. Both closings and postscripts are completely optional in your email, just like a belt is an optional accessory for your waist. Think really hard about if you need to have them. They should be adding to your email, not just existing there. We've come to the final part of our email, the footer. This corresponds to the legs and, well, feet of the human body. A footer contains multiple pieces of important information that not only helps to add credibility to your email, it also protects you from potential legal issues. The first bit of your footer will consist of your business's social media links. They help create a simple pathway for users to explore and subscribe to your other platforms. People who see these links will be exposed to way more of your marketing messaging. Next, you'll share your physical address, or a PO box, virtual mailbox service, UPS store, commercial mail receiving service, or main address supplied by a third-party business provider. You must have one of these addresses in your footer if you want to be in compliance with the CAN-SPAM Act and other similar anti-spam requirements. The physical address helps to prove to both email subscribers and email giants like Google, Yahoo, and Apple that you are, in fact, a legitimate business. Helping it will also help you get through spam filters that block emails without a physical address. Think of it like that old no shoes, no shirt, no service adage. Your physical address is your shoes. They help ensure that your email gets served. A footer will also contain legal information like disclaimers, confidentiality notices, company notices, or privacy policies. their inclusion helps protect you from potential liability or misuse of information. The last piece of your footer are links to pages that allow your subscriber to either unsubscribe or manage their preferences. Your footer must contain a clear and conspicuous one-click unsubscribe link to comply with CAN spam, but it's also beneficial for you as a marketer. When people who are unengaged with your emails unsubscribe, they no longer have a negative sway in your email metrics. It's a win-win for both parties. They get to run away from emails they're no longer interested in receiving, and your sender reputation and email metrics aren't harmed by their actions. A Manage Preferences link allows your subscribers to unsubscribe from some, but not all of your emails. If a subscriber interacts with emails about event content and newsletters, but avoids marketing emails, managing their preferences allows them to receive emails that they actually want to get, improving your metrics on all email types. As an added plus, it gives you happy subscribers and a really healthy email list. And that wraps up the anatomy of an email. I admit, it's not the cleanest analogy out there. I mean, comparing a page of text and images to the structure of a living, breathing being is just about the same as comparing apples to Apple devices. But there's one thing that holds true for both the human body and an email. Each and every part serves a specific function in service of one overall goal. In the body, your legs help you get around. Your hands help you do things. Your head helps you see and think. And your torso is the main thing tying everything together. The goal is to live life, and every part of your body helps you do that. In an email, your sender information tells a reader who you are. Your subject line introduces the concept of the email. The header expands on that concept. Your copy and images bring it to life. The CTA invites the reader to explore the concept, and then the footer brings everything together. The goal is to properly communicate a concept to your reader, and the parts of an email all work together to make that happen. The best advice I can give you is to define a goal for your email before you even sit down to write it. Keep that goal in mind as you craft every piece of your email's anatomy. That's how you'll get an email that will perform at its very best. Thank you so much for joining me as I broke down email anatomy. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and let me know what purpose you want your emails to serve in the comments below. And if you want to see more videos like this, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our YouTube channel. See you later.